this is like an established industry in Japan. You have actors being hired to play people's spouses, family members, even children, which is crazy
Hmm.
that to think that they have like children on staff who get hired to go live with some couple or something, right?
That's
There are
crazy.
hundreds of these companies apparently.
Hello, this is the Fifth Star. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Albert, and we are reviewing Rental Family, where Brendan Fraser is an actor in Japan who gets hired to play people's family members. So we're going to start with our biggest positive and negatives for the movie. So,
Yes.
Jamie, what did you like most about the movie?
Well, I'm pretty biased because I sort of spent a summer in Japan one time in
Oh,
Tokyo, and I love Tokyo. Tokyo's my favorite city.
hmm,
And so the whole time I just felt like nostalgia. It was also cool like seeing him in parts of Tokyo that I've been to.
hmm.
So I just loved that it was in
Seeing.
Japan.
Well, my positive is that I really liked the concept a lot. It was
Mm.
really interesting to see this idea of a company that basically hires actors to play different characters in people's lives.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you know this, but this is actually a real thing in Japan. Did you know that?
I was thinking, I don't think I knew that for sure, but I was thinking this is like a huge cultural barrier.
Mm.
Like, and that's why it's interesting that we're seeing it through a Westerner's eyes
Hmm.
because, in an honor shame culture, lying is kind of permissible. Like, it's not seen as a totally terrible thing because
Hmm.
sometimes lying is like saving face or like
Yep.
keeping people protected or, you know, helping them with their emotions. And
Yep.
so I think from a Western perspective, we just see lying as black and white.
Yeah.
Lying is wrong, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I do see how it's possible for it to exist in Japan.
Well, this is like an established industry in Japan.
That's
There are
crazy.
hundreds of these companies apparently, and
Wow.
they've been around since like the early 1990s. You have
Wow.
actors being hired to play people's spouses, family members, even children, which is crazy
Hmm.
that to think that they have like children on staff who get hired to go live with some couple or something, right?
That's wild, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Like it does make sense in the cultural context. I mean, I grew up here in America, but I grew up with Korean immigrant parents. Like I went to University of Pennsylvania, which is a really good school in and of itself, but it's really known for Wharton, which is the business school. I went to the engineering school. But my parents, the way they would introduce me to their friends is that, "Oh, here's my son who goes to Wharton." You know?
Huh.
And
Because
they
that had more
'Cause it had more
clout?
honor, yeah. It was like a great more prestigious, right?
Interesting.
They told me that they would do that in a way and that I had to play along. And so I had to kinda keep up that facade. And so it's a little different from this where I am playing myself, but I'm
Yeah.
playing a role also
You're
for
just like lying about one little thing, one little
yeah,
detail.
for the
Yeah.
sake of the perception of my parents and yeah,
Yeah.
so that it kinda does make sense why this would happen, and I think the movie does a good job of showing you the different instances of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really like that part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you like least about the movie?
This is kind of sad because I think the little girl Mia was
Mhm.
so adorable.
Yeah.
So cute. But her acting at times wasn't very convincing for me,
Mhm.
and that kind of kept taking me out of it,
Mhm.
which is really sad because I love movies about adult kid relationships and how like the kid usually brings the innocence back to the adult and then the
Yeah.
adult like teaches the child something about the world, and
Mhm.
I love that dynamic. But in this one, I think because of her acting,
Mm.
it didn't feel like as believable, or their relationship didn't feel as like solid to me.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my negative.
Yeah, I get that. I liked her a lot. I like that storyline a lot. I think for me, like the other storyline, which is the major storyline, which is him with the old man.
Yeah.
Like the old man was a really good actor,
Yeah.
but I didn't connect as much with that story, and it
Mm.
takes up such a big chunk of the movie. I felt like because of that, there were almost too many characters and storylines that the characters felt largely underdeveloped to me.
Yeah.
Even Brendan Fraser's character, like, you kinda get he's alone and stuff, but you don't really spend enough time in that, like the way
Yeah.
Perfect Days does.
Yeah, I felt like he is hard to get to know as a character. And I do see how that's kind of the point.
Mhm.
Like he feels like a background character and in his own movie he's almost like a background character because he doesn't feel very fleshed out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess towards the end you can see internal growth.
Mhm.
But yeah, he still felt kind of like, who are
Yeah.
you?
And he kinda tells you at some point, but it doesn't really hit emotionally.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of this was it like the old man storyline to me, if you just pull that out altogether
Mm,
and spent that time developing Brendan Fraser, developing Mia and their whole dynamic together,
that would have been
I
better.
think it would have really like felt more full.
No, I think I agree with you mostly. However, my 5-star scene was
Hmm.
a scene with the old man. So we'll get to
Oh,
that at the
interesting.
end.
Yeah, so stick around for that. Okay, so you want to reveal?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're called a fifth star if this is your first time watching us because if we find a movie that we both give 5 stars, what will happen to our
This
podcast?
podcast will be fired.
Ooh, so you guessed that I would give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I gave it a 3.
Yes, I also gave it a 3.
Okay.
So you got it right. I mean, it's a high 3 cuz I also agree. I liked the concept. The problem was that things just kind of kept falling flat
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like it wasn't executed as great or as compelling as
Mm-hmm.
it could have been. And so my enjoyment just kind of like fell throughout the movie. And
Yeah.
so I kind of landed at a 3.
Because the concept is so good and so strong, I think what's really interesting is the themes in this movie.
Yeah, so I feel like there are a lot of themes going on.
Mm-hmm.
A big theme I noticed was sort of the morals of lying
Yeah.
because again, like I said, he's from a western perspective. He immediately has doubts
Mm-hmm.
and debates whether what he's doing for at the beginning this bride um if fake marrying her is the right thing to do or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from a Japanese perspective it's like this is a net positive,
Yeah.
so lying is permissible. But for him he's like lying is wrong, we're being dishonest, it's gonna hurt people in the long run, like that's probably what he's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was like really interesting. But then later on, he has a really good quote, which was sometimes all we need is someone to look us in the eye and remind us we exist. Sometimes it's okay to pretend.
Mm.
And so it seems like he kind of comes around on his original take, which is that like pretending can help people if you can like acknowledge their existence and like. But then at the end of the movie, spoilers ahead, his morals about lying
Mm-hmm.
do kind of come around because it turns out like telling the truth is the answer, and like honesty is the right thing to do
Yeah.
in both storylines, the old man's and the daughter's. So I was glad that it went that direction because I was worried that it wasn't.
Yeah. I saw a lot of that too, like, and kind of similar to what I was saying earlier about my personal experience. Me and my parents had a lot of conflict because I grew up here in America and I was like, it's wrong. Like, why would you lie about this?
Yeah.
And for them, like, they didn't see that as like a big deal. Like, why can't
Yeah.
you just play along? And even later on, when he confronts Mia finally, like, truthfully,
Yeah.
she asks, like, why do adults always lie? And then he says, like, oh, it's because it's a lot easier than telling the truth, right?
Yeah.
And like it is sad, but I see that a lot. Like I try to not do that, but I
Yeah.
see like my parents have done that. Like it seems to be true that people are willing to keep up a pretense, even though it's
Yeah.
like lie stacking upon lie, and they're willing to go
And they
through all
catch
of
up to
that.
you.
Yeah, and I thought that that's kind of what the premise of the movie is about, right? Like
Yeah.
ultimately the truth will come out. But then there's this whole other theme that you kind of see threaded throughout, which is like all these different people are kind of alone, right? Like they don't have a friend. They're an old man, a little girl who doesn't have her dad. Like all these kinds of people are lonely, living in this big city.
Mhm.
Um and so as I was kind of thinking about how those things come together, there was actually a review that I saw. It was credit to Reverie, that YouTube channel. You can check it out. But he summarized the theme question really well, I thought, which is it better to pretend to be loved rather than to be alone? And I think that's really the key of like how these two components fit together.
Hmm.
Like I could see how you could be so lonely that even though it's not true,
Yeah.
Like, you're willing to go through it because you rather feel like some feeling of being loved rather than feeling nothing at all.
It's sort of like fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Like if you fake it so hard, eventually.
You believe it. You think that, "Oh, this is real."
I mean, maybe. I think that's really sad though. Like I see that as being cuz like to be loved but not known
Yeah.
is insufficient. Like it doesn't mean is the same thing.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, I absolutely agree with you, but it's like if you're that lonely, that is also really hard every day to deal with, right?
Yeah, and I was thinking how loneliness kind of becomes purposelessness
Mm.
because that's very true for Brendan Fraser's character
And
is
the old
that
man too.
and the old man,
Yeah.
yeah, because they are walking a very lonely life and
Mhm.
they kind of feel like aimless. Like what am I doing? What is this all about? And we really need community and we do need people around us, but
Yeah.
I think we need community that knows
That's
us.
genuine. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think community around you that's pretending can only go so deep and can only go so far.
Yeah.
It's very like I mean, to point back to what you said, I think it creates like a shallow version of
Mm.
love that is maybe like helpful, but only to a certain point.
Yeah.
And then eventually you're gonna need something more than that, I
Yeah.
think.
Well, the ending, was kind of interesting. There's the shrine, and it's like, oh,
Oh
what's
yeah, I
what's in
had
the
to look up
shrine?
what that meant.
Yeah, and I didn't really get it either. But ultimately, it's that what I saw was that like there's a mirror,
Yeah.
and it's like here's Brendan Fraser who's like trying to find meaning in being alone in Japan, right?
Yeah.
And he ultimately is being told you find it in yourself. And I think that ties
Or like God is within everything and
exactly.
everyone.
Yeah, like that whole conversation with the old man on the mountain.
Mhm.
And so it's like what you're looking for, that divine essence of love and acceptance and whatever that
It's
everyone,
in you.
yeah, that ultimately everyone wants is like it's in yourself, right? Like stop
And
looking
yeah.
outside to other people.
And I
Um,
think that's a really good theme. It just like wasn't explored enough.
yeah, I think because his character was underdeveloped.
Yeah,
And so because of
maybe.
that, you kind of are like dropping in and out of where he's at and more focused on these other characters. There's a duality even in this theme because, this is the big spoiler is that the guy who's running the whole agency
Mhm.
himself has a rental family.
Yeah, that was a big plot twist.
Yeah, did you see that coming? I did
I
not see that
I
coming
didn't
at
see it
all.
coming, but then when it happened, I was like, "Oh, it makes
Yeah,
sense."
it does make sense.
So, I wasn't like shocked,
Yeah. But I thought
but
that was such a
it was
good
a good
plot
reveal,
twist.
yeah.
Yeah, and it tells you everything you need to know about why he's doing this.
True.
And you have him who's like clearly the actors are just there. They just like, he seems like he's really strict and they're scared of him and all this stuff. And yet Brendan Fraser is playing these roles and becoming a friend to this gamer guy and then to the old man and with Mia. But in so doing, they actually find something genuine,
Mhm.
right? Like they actually discover a connection,
Yeah.
which is different from the head of the agency guy, where
Yeah.
it's just fake and it just hits a wall and there's nothing that comes from it,
And I think
seemingly.
that's like the arc
Mm.
is that he brings authenticity
Yeah, that's
to the
right.
workplace.
Mm.
And I think that wasn't there before, and that's why they changed their business model by the end.
That's good. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. He's the one who brings that mentality
Mhm.
because without him, it would have just continued on just on the surface level.
And the scene where they all like come to his rescue and all pretend to be investigators
Yeah.
and stuff, that was like a very funny moment, but
Yeah.
also like heartfelt of like,
Yeah.
oh wow, they're willing to act as the law,
Yeah.
getting in a lot of trouble maybe,
Yeah.
just to protect him because they realized he was right.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, so I think the themes are there and they
Yeah.
work well. I think it's really interesting. What did you think of the plot and how it was structured?
I did break down the plot,
Mhm.
and we have our setup of a struggling actor who can't get work until he stumbles across this weird agency that sells emotions.
Mm.
And then his debate is kind of what we already talked about, which is is lying to help people okay? And then he agrees, and the fun and games is just Philip kind of getting close to Mia and this old man and,
Mhm.
opening up to them and vice versa. The midpoint is when he's told he can't see Mia anymore. And then the old man doesn't want to see him anymore unless he takes him to his hometown. And
Mm.
I really liked that. I actually really liked that arc
Mm.
of going to his hometown. And then the all is lost is Mia learns the truth, which is good, but in the moment it feels like a loss
Mhm.
because like betrayal. And then the old man nearly dies and Philip is blamed and the business almost falls apart. And then the finale is the coworkers have a change of heart and they all rally behind Philip and then change their whole model that lying isn't always benefiting people, I think.
Mhm.
I feel like that's sort of the conclusion. And then, yeah, Philip tells Mia the truth and she accepts his apology. And then the closing image is like him looking in the mirror, which I didn't feel like that was as through a line as it could have been.
Mm.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of the breakdown.
Okay. The one thing about the plot that I wanted to just mention was there's like a crucial decision that he has to make, which is that as he's getting to know Mia, that he gets a call, the long-awaited dream job call.
Oh, yeah.
And
Kind of forgot about that.
yeah, but I thought that that came way too soon. Like he basically tells
He
the
basically just started getting to know Mia.
yeah, and then he
Yeah.
rejects it, and you see these flashbacks of like
Yeah.
the one or two times they hung out together.
True.
Um, and even like the development of their relationship, like she gives the coat hanger thing, the mobile, and she puts her head on his shoulders and on the bus, and it all happens so quickly that I didn't feel like it was organically had been developed. And so
Yeah.
this is where I thought just the lack of time because of how little they could spend on that relationship because of the old man relationship. Um, like those points, if they were pushed later throughout, it would have maybe yeah had added some more weight to their
Yeah,
relationship.
and maybe I put too much on her performance because I kind of blamed her acting on
Hmm.
not feeling that connection, but maybe it was more of a time thing. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like a structural thing.
Maybe.
All right. Well, even though we didn't give this 5 stars overall, we will nominate our favorite scene. So, what scene do
Yes.
you think deserves 5 stars?
So I loved the scene where he goes back to the hometown with the old man and they find the time capsule
Mm,
and he like shows this is like who I was before I became like an actor or a pretender.
mhm,
And I just loved that because it was like getting back to literally the roots, because it's like in the roots of the
mm,
tree
mm.
of who he is,
What the truth he had buried.
the truth he had buried and kind of forgotten about.
Mm,
And now he's like resurrecting it while his memories are fading. And I thought that was such a really good moment that I feel like that was like a very well executed scene.
mm.
What about
Okay.
you?
Well, for me, it comes early in the movie, which is the funeral resurrection scene. So
Oh my
when he
gosh.
first shows up at the
That is
funeral,
not a 5-star scene.
oh my gosh, he
It
shows
was
up
funny.
He shows up at the funeral, and then we don't know what's happening yet, right? What the gig is. And then for the guy to
No.
just wake up out of the casket was so shocking. But here's why I love that concept, because I didn't know what this whole rental family concept was yet. And I was thinking like, man, how interesting would it be for you to be able to have your own funeral? If you think about it, people say the nicest things as they reflect on their relationship with you, all at your
Yeah.
funeral after you've died. Like you're not there.
Right.
And so to be able to like role play that and be there to hear all those things, like how moving and touching must that be? I just thought that was like really cool.
I don't know.
No?
And also like they were all actors. They were all pretending like they knew him.
Yeah.
What you need is real community and real love,
Mm.
not hired actors.
Yeah. The scene that you mentioned didn't quite hit me that hard in the moment, but I think as we talk about the themes and you kind of unpack the metaphor of all of it, I agree. I think it's a good scene. So we'll say that that's our 5 star scene.
Yay!
But let us know what was your favorite scene and what you thought of the movie overall.
Support our channel by liking and subscribing.
And next week we'll be watching Life of Chuck. So join us next week as we continue our quest for the 5th star.